Lesley, thank you so much for talking to the Small Business Owner magazine, and especially big thank you because you were one of the first people, if not the first person, to star in the magazine. You've been in every issue since. You've taken us through all 7 strides of the personal branding walking tour programme, I guess. And we've come to the end of that, so we thought we'd have a coffee with you or a glass of water and find out a little bit more about who Lesley is. Now, before I do that, I just want to set the scene. As many people will know, this magazine has become a phenomenon worldwide. It's a global magazine, which has surprised everyone. 77 countries we're now in. But what's really interesting is you're a global entrepreneur, you're a global speaker, and you are soon to be the president of the Global Speakers Association. So I thought, let's start there. What's that all about?
Well, it's really, I feel like it's like the culmination of my speaking career, actually. I'm very privileged and honoured to take over as president of the GSF, or the Global Speakers Federation, in July this year in Philadelphia in the US. And what this federation is, it's a federation that sits as an umbrella, if you like, to the 11 member countries that we have currently as members of the professional speaker associations, if you like. And the UK is one of those. So what we do is share best practice and help to guide new associations. What's so exciting is that we have lots of interest right now from India, Japan, Russia, Middle East, Latin America, wanting to set up speaker associations. So the Global Federation actually assists in that process very much as well. So it's exciting. It's a volunteer role and there's a lot of work, so that has to be fitted in with running a small business at the same time. But great for me and a great honour for me to be able to take over in that position.
And of course, people will know you from your tips in the magazine, your valuable tips on personal branding. And in the magazine, we've got personal presence and personal branding as one of our key things that small business owners and business owners per se should be aware of. But from your point of view as a speaker, you've taken it to a whole new level. How did that come about?
Well, I think it's something that has always been inherent in me. When I was growing up, it was really important for me, and it was instilled in me as a young child that to make a first impression was really important. And through everything I did in life, it was really being true to myself and being authentic. And so if I look back, that personal branding story has actually built the methodology. So the Walking Tall methodology that we now deliver as a company is very much based on who I am and my story behind all of that, if you like. So real true values and principles and motivators and drivers for what I do in life. So it's a very solid, proven, authentic methodology that's based on me. And now I have other people delivering that. So.
And we know that there's a lot of people who want to get on the speaker circuit, who want to develop a product or a program, a system that they can own and deliver and be seen as the sort of go-to person. And you've clearly done that in the personal branding market, you know, one of the leading icons worldwide doing that. But if other people are looking for inspiration to do something similar with their own topic, where do they start?
It is a difficult one. I'd always urge them to just put the brakes on a bit, and rather than just look at it and say this is a great topic where there's a niche area here or there's a gap in the market, is really look at what your backstory is. So what gives you the credibility to develop a methodology or a system and document and deliver that? What really is the thread that runs all the way through that authentic thread? Because we hear speakers and experts all the time, or so-called experts maybe, who speak on perhaps customer service or sales, but they never get back to you in their emails, or they don't have a great sales pipeline, and the authenticity just disappears. But whatever we do, whatever we speak about, whatever our business is about, and if you're a business owner, it's the same thing, whether you're a speaker or not, like I am. But it's finding that thread. What is it that I'm really good at? Because it drives me, motivates me, it's my strengths, it hits my value set, it's a part of my belief system, it's part of my core DNA. What is that? And then we can build on it from there, because you'll be amazed if you sit down and really think about the experiences in life that give you that thread, the actual stuff that can spin off from that and develop into a methodology that is true and authentic, that people can really get, because it's not just out of a textbook, if you like.
Yeah, so, but if you've got a passion for something, you clearly have, all of the 7 strides that go through what you wear, how you come across, your handshake, tone of voice, body language, and all of those things that you cover, that you were passionate about. There must have been a day where you sat down and thought, do you know what? I could make this into a business. I'm going to become a business owner, albeit it's not a business that most people would recognise. People think of businesses as shops and trades, but you've grown a business from scratch on those beliefs and values and passions. How?
Yes, I mean, I can't say, looking back, it wasn't something that I thought this is where I'm going to be in 15 years' time. I wish I could have said that. So it really evolved an awful lot. But it was when I took my jump in from, I was working for the magistrates courts, training as a lawyer back from the age of 18 through to about 21, realised that law wasn't for me. And I went into corporate life working for the supplier that provided the computer systems for the magistrates court system. And I'd done lots of evening classes in different aspects of non-verbal communication, physiology, psychology, beauty therapy, a number of different things. And when I was in corporate life, I was doing a lot of presenting and training within this niche criminal justice area. And I realised there were a lot of people around me working within the company and externally that weren't getting the exposure and the visibility and the promotion, if you like, and the opportunities that they deserved, because they didn't necessarily project themselves consistently, authentically, with enough impact all the time. And I thought, this isn't fair. There should be somebody who can help them with this. And that's when I started to think there was nobody really out there doing this back in the late 90s, early 2000s when it started. And I thought I can develop a product here for the corporate market that helps business people, no matter how senior they are, project themselves with more confidence and impact. And that's where it started.
And was that first product a training course or a workshop, or was it a keynote speech?
It was mainly training. There's a training methodology that is still developing today. As I travel around the world, that gets developed still, and coaching as well. So a lot of executive brand coaching. And then in the year 2000-ish, 2001, I decided that actually I was quite good and enjoyed this speaking stuff as well. So I decided I wanted to be a professional speaker as well. And that's been pivotal to the growth of the company, because every time I speak, it's a bit of a marketing opportunity, if you like. Even though the content I'm giving an audience is really important to me and they get something from it, it's actually selling what we do in an indirect way as well. So by building my profile as a speaker and as an author, that's really helped to drive the business. And I think that's a key point for business owners, is don't just see yourself as the MD. You've got to get out there, be visible, talk to the community, think about writing a book, think about contributing to the press, the media in some way. You've got to be visible and out there, because that drives your business, and it's one of the biggest marketing tools that I believe a business has now.
And did you have a strategy behind that? Did you think, I need to do this many speaking events or join this association? We've talked about the global speakers, but...
Well, you probably know me well enough, Dave, to know that I don't really have a strategy. I mean, loosely,
top tip,
I
have
do.
a strategy.
Yeah, exactly. I have a great Chris, my husband, is our operations director. He's the one who puts plans in place and project manages things. I have great ideas and I drive forward and want everything to happen tomorrow. So I have a very loose strategy. I know where I want to go. How I'm going to get there is often a zigzag. Mm-hmm. And I do see sometimes a business plan or a strategy a bit like a lake with stepping stones across to the other side. So my end plan is there, or my end result is there. I don't quite know how I'm going to get there, but I know I need to step on all of these different stones to get there, to give me the credibility or the foundation to be able to do what I want to do at the end of it. So it's very much, the business plan is a lot in my head, although of course we do have a business plan as well, but I don't keep referring to it. For me, it evolves every day. So it's a very loose strategy. I can't claim that I had a plan for that period of time, no.
But looking at it from the outside, it looks really super successful, even if it was a casual plan, because you've got a career that most people would envy. You travel because I presume you enjoy it. You speak because you enjoy it. You deliver courses on something you're passionate about. It doesn't get much better than that, does it?
No, it doesn't. And I do have to pinch myself
And you
sometimes.
get paid as well, presumably.
I get paid.
Yeah.
I mean, what better job for a woman
know.
to be paid to speak and have a captive audience to listen to? It's incredible. So, I do. I'm very, very privileged. And I travel around the world a lot. And obviously, because I work for myself, I can always try and build in time either side, which is important for speaking as well, to just get that little bit of involved in the culture before you speak. But I have the ability to be able to do that. And I love speaking. It is a passion. My business is absolutely my passion. So there's pluses and against that, I guess, because you can get too absorbed in it, but it really is very much our life as well. And Chris travels with me wherever he can. So we do have a great life, yeah. And it's good to get paid for what you love to do.
We'll come back to that because I'm sure there's lots of people who'll be watching this thinking, I want to do that, and give me some tips on how to do it. But let's go back to the speaking. You obviously saw the benefit of speaking very, very early on, and you enjoyed it. And you were picking up work on the back of it, am I right in thinking? So the speech was your marketing, although sometimes you get paid for it, but you presumably did some for free.
I did in the early days, yeah, and I think that really is important as well. Whether you want to be a professional speaker or not, whether you're running a business, it's really important to get out there and get good at presenting. There's not many people who are really good at presenting, and it's a fantastic visibility tool and great tool for exposure if you can just be good at getting a message across that entertains and informs people at the same time. So I would really urge people to do that and get out there and speak, not necessarily always get paid for it. Once you do it for the profession, it's more important to make sure that you are covering your fee for the value that you're giving. But I still occasionally now speak for free when I have a set number of talks that I'll do a year for charities or whatever, and I do still do that. But and I think then you can see yourself as a bit of a marketing tool as well when you do speak for no fee. But I would urge anybody starting out to do as many speeches as they can, get feedback, get people who in an audience who can give you credible, honest, constructive feedback and listen to it and act on it. It's always great to get the good positive stuff. That was great, wonderful, loved listening to you, inspiring. But we need the negative bits as well if we're really going to improve. And that for me was very important early on. And
that's part of what you talk about in your branding, isn't it? Sometimes you've got to talk to someone and say, okay, honestly tell me, how do I come across? What's my voice like?
Absolutely.
Do I do anything annoying when I stand talking, or all those things? So it is hard.
It is hard, yeah.
But it's the most valuable, isn't it?
It's the most valuable, it really is. And, we're very hot on getting feedback for our training courses. And yes, again, the positive stuff is good, but it's the little negative comment that you want in order to analyse that and say, what is it that we did there? How can we improve on that? And that's something that we put into the business all the time. I'm very much a perfectionist. That's not always a good thing, but I would rather be that and have high quality standards than not.
So you've given a keynote speech, and at the end someone will come up, won't they, and say, oh, I was really interested, we ought to be doing this in our company, and presumably that's the lead generation tool you need to then go and deliver your programs.
Yes, it is, and every company is different. They all have a different requirement, and what we're doing an awful lot of now is like a blended learning approach to training. So it might be me kicking off with the keynote at their company conference. It might then be Skype webinars to get them interested in what we're going to be delivering. It might be then a whole program for management development. There might be coaching as part of that, follow-up webinars and that kind of thing, and also tools that sit online, videos and articles and blogs and tips for this week, that kind of thing. So everybody's different, and we can just chop up the program as we need to, or develop bits of it that really sit within their learning culture.
Now, you mentioned writing a book as well, because we say go out there, be known, be visible, speak and get good at it, and I agree with that. But you've also written a book, which I've read before I even met you, and I really enjoyed it, and it did resonate with me a little bit, because sometimes you think, oh God, do I do that, know, and you start to think about those things, and also for men especially, answer some of those questions. Is it the right thing to wear a suit with no tie, and what sort of shirt would you wear with that? And nobody should wear trainers with a suit. And
what's that dreaded smart casual thing?
The Friday dress down thing and all of that. So the book was great, but you've got another book coming out, but it's in progress, is that right?
Yes, we've only just started. I just have the contract right now, and it'll be out in the early part of 2015, so there's an awful lot of work to do and research, but it's really around the first book, Walking Tall, was aimed at the individual, as you say, in terms of how do you help yourself project, how do you help yourself to project yourself better. This one is really aimed at boards of directors and executives to look at how you can improve your corporate brand investment or maximize the corporate brand investment through people behaviour. How do you give people the tools to be able to project themselves well, and what does it mean to your company and the bottom line if you're leaking this investment, if you don't get this right? How can you recognise how well you're doing? How can you create the right culture? Those sorts of things. So it's very much a business angle rather than the individual angle, this book.
Now, the magazine is free on the iPad newsstand, and we always like to add value to people's lives, but you've got an opportunity potentially for our readers and viewers of this to get involved in that book. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I would love to. The book is going to be really based on real, true experiences rather than just researched over the internet. And it's a very practical guide for boards of directors and executives to look at their business objectively in terms of people behaviour and that impact on the corporate brand. So what I would love from your readers is if they have examples of where people brand has really had a massive effect on a business, preferably positively, but if there's negative examples as well, that's helpful. And what I thought we would do, if there are some really good stories there and examples and case studies, they might even get incorporated into the book. So it would be great to be able to see what examples we have, any great stories, experiences people have got, and then if there's some good ones, we can explore those even deeper.
Give us an example of what that might look like when you talk about, someone's experience of a personal brand.
Yeah, it can either be from a consumer point of view or a client or a partner of a business where you've experienced great communication, interaction with people from that business that you think that really does epitomise and authenticate that corporate brand because that person lives and breathes it in their own individual way. Or it could be that you have a company that you believe that your people really do behave in a way that represents and reinforces what the brand and the vision of the company is all about. When you really analyse the value of your organisation, what does it say? What do your values say? Do your people really reinforce that? If you really analyse it down to a very low level, is that accurate? And if you believe you have examples of that, where people behave in a way, in their own authentic manner, that reinforces the corporate brand, then that's what I'd like to hear more about.
And how can people get those to you?
I think the easiest way is email. So on the websites are walkingtall.org and leslieeverett.com. So my email is leslie@leslieeverett.com. That's probably the easiest way to get that.
And they can send those examples. And of course,
yeah.
Since you started your business in the late 90s, the world has changed so much. So I'm thinking probably people let themselves and their companies down on Twitter.
Yes.
Don't tweet when you're under the influence of alcohol. That's my number one tip. Because you're letting everybody down.
Yeah.
But, things like that, which we wouldn't have been talking about if we'd have sat down 10 years ago. But I'm guessing that they're examples, but also just from house stuff, over the telephone, just...
Yeah, exactly that whole experience, whatever that touch point is with the outside world, with the client, with the consumer, that makes a difference. Those are the sorts of things that I wanted to hear about, whether that's a hotel, whether that's in a bank, whether that's from you working within a corporation that's dealing with a partner, that you've got an image of that business from the way that they've communicated on email, or you've looked them up on LinkedIn beforehand and thought, gosh, that's maybe not the professional image I would expect, whatever it is. And as you say, social media has a huge part in company branding today, and I always say that the most valuable part of your brand today is what your customers say about your brand to the outside world. And of course with social media, that goes global instantly. So we have to pay attention to that, our reputation online, as well as that face-to-face communication.
That's a real big learn.
Yeah.
And for yourself, having already written a book, and hopefully people will contribute to your book
I hope
and
they
get
do, yeah.
published. I mean, that would be great because it adds great value, doesn't it? It makes you become the key person of influence. Is a phrase that we use. We've had Daniel Priestley in the magazine who talks about key person of influence, the go-to guy, the position as an expert, and writing a book, producing a magazine on the newsstand makes you become that, and that raises your credibility. It must have helped.
Yeah, it does. And for anybody starting out, I would say, and they always say everybody's got a book in them, and it's a bit of a cliche, but I do believe that's true. And if you can and feel inclined to write the book, then do. It was a massive jump up for me in the early days. It was first published, Walking Tall, in 2002. And it really was at that point where I got a lot of media coverage, the profile started to build, the speaking events came in, the methodology really evolved from that because it forced me to really think and write down what's the stuff I'm teaching. So it's a great discipline in that as well. But from a profile point of view and you being seen as the credible expert, a book is essential.
And people will think, that's really hard. I don't write very well. You've got to produce 40,000 words, something like that. Is there a process that you went through that made that easier?
Again, I probably had my own little strategy there. I'm not a great writer, I remember, and I've said in the book at 18 when I was doing A-level English, I was hopeless at writing essays, really hated it. So to write a book was quite a thing for me. I speak and I'm good at speaking, but writing not so good at. So what I'm doing a lot of now is I'm taking a slightly different approach. Mind mapping is a good thing. I'm also recording a lot of what I want to say and getting that transcribed. Elance is a great tool for that if your readers haven't come across that, but there's lots of resource out there that do things that are good at things that you're not good at, and so I'm trying to sort of speak more of it and then get that transcribed, and then I can edit it. I'm much more effective at that. And the research as well, I'll get some help with that because I know exactly what I need to prove for me to actually go and do that. It's not good use of my time when I can be thinking about the content of what I need. So I'll get help where I can on those elements of the book as well.
So speaking publicly in many very different forums, that's a useful thing to do. Get published.
Yeah.
Be aware of your own personal brand and read the book is the thing to do, or follow the program and follow the videos. You've done a video for each of the 7 strides in each of our publications, which we're grateful for. As a business owner yourself, what else would you say to anybody watching this now to help them grow themselves and grow their businesses that you've been through that you'd like to share?
I think one of the big things for me is the networking from a global perspective, and now where I am at with the global presidency for the Federation. That's really through my network and getting to know people. I love people. I love different cultures. I love to travel and get to know people in different countries. For me, networking is essential, and we met through that medium as well. You meet some amazing people, and don't be afraid to ask for help as well where you need some help. I think women are generally better at that than men, and that's why statistics show that female-run businesses generally are more successful than male-run businesses. I don't know what the stats are anymore, but I think it's mainly because women do ask for help, so do that. But also getting people in to do stuff that you're not good at. And
everybody needs a Chris.
Everyone needs a Chris, exactly. That might be the next book.
People are wondering now, who's Chris? Who's Chris? We should say that
Chris is my operations director and my husband, and he's amazing at putting processes in place and keeping the cog turning for the business.
There's a whole separate interview about working with family, husbands, wives, and perhaps that's for another day, because I'm sure that's both very good, but
it has its challenges as well. But Chris is very good at stuff I'm not good at, and he has no desire to be out there in front of audiences, so it works very, very well. We understand how each other thinks differently. And
we'd be no good together, would we?
We'd never get anything done, would we?
Get off! I'm on stage next.
That's right.
Hogging the limelight.
We have all these great ideas, and nothing ever gets put in place.
Nothing would get done. Talking of ideas, what's next? We've mentioned the next book, which we're all looking forward to and could be part of. What's the plan?
The plan is to really, we've just got our green cards into the US, so we'll be moving over there in the next 18 months or so.
We don't want you to go.
Well, I'll be back. I'll never cut ties with the UK. But that gives me a chance to really speak more in the US. I do quite a lot there at the moment, but we want to do more. And then international franchise, that we'll still run the business from the UK, maybe with some management help in there, but we can run it from pretty much anywhere. But the international franchise of Walking Tall is the next big thing for us, and we have lots of ideas and plans for that already, so watch this space in 5 years.
Well, not bad for a woman without a strategy and just a passion for coming across as authentic. Your journey is incredible. You've made it sound incredibly easy. People watching this could be inspired. You'd say go for it, wouldn't you?
Absolutely go for it. If you're passionate about something, if you really believe that you can achieve something, then you can. And it's just not being hindered by limiting beliefs of the past. I've learnt this along the way, that I can beat myself up about things that I haven't achieved. And my publicist once said to me, Lesley, do you ever write down the things that you have achieved in the last year? And I said, no, I don't. I'll always just think about what I can be doing next. I never stop and think what I have achieved and all the good positive stuff. I might think about what I haven't achieved. But I think that's the key thing, is learn from the past, but take the positive parts of that and drive it forward. You can achieve what you want to if you're really passionate about it. I really believe that.
And would there be a highlight, a best bit, a moment that would be the thing that sums it all up?
Gosh, there's many of those. I think when the book was published, that was amazing one. From a speaker point of view, because I love speaking, the first standing ovation was amazing to think people would enjoy what I said that much, that they could show appreciation in that way. That was amazing. But really, and the travel now for me is so important. I love to travel, as I said before, and that is amazing that I can build that into my work. So that's an overall highlight, if you like.
And you didn't even mention sharing a green room with Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, yes, you've seen the picture. Yeah.
I've seen the picture. I shan't say where I've seen the picture, but it's in a very strategic place for a non-strategic thinker, where everybody gets to see that picture. That's brilliant. And his autograph.
A highlight. Yes, it was. And it was a TV series that I did on Tonight with Trevor McDonald, in helping single mums to get back in the workplace.
Yeah.
And we were on breakfast TV. And I remember on the Friday before the Monday we were due on, they do these highlights of what's coming up Monday. And they said, we have Dustin Hoffman in the studio. And I was beside myself all weekend knowing I'd be in the green room with Dustin Hoffman. And of course, one of the ladies who was on the programme was there with her daughter for us to go on to the on the sofa with. And Dustin Hoffman was making such a fuss of the little girl. And he said to her mum eventually, would you like an autograph for her? And I'm thinking, I would love an autograph too, but I don't really want to ask for it. And then he looked at me and he said, would you like one as well? I said, I'd love one. So he put, dear Lesley, thank you for that hot time we had in the green room this morning. I'll never forget.
Yeah,
and I love how
brilliant.
It was fantastic. Yes, so that's definitely a highlight of the
fantastic.
career.
If your teachers could see you now, the ones that told you couldn't write, look where you are now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Brilliant. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, and we can look forward to featuring you in future issues of the magazine.
I hope so. Yes, I'd love doing it. I've really enjoyed contributing, Dave, and thank you very much for that.
You are our cover girl, and we're very proud to have you there.
I can't wait. Thank you.
Thank you.